So now I'm just at my desktop. I've got nothing open here. QuickTime's open up in the background simply for this screen recording. But uh, so Final Cut Pro can be, from experience, a little overwhelming in terms of what's going on and how you're saving things and creating a project. This is speaking from a beginner standpoint. If you're advanced with Final Cut Pro, obviously you're way past this video and there's no need to watch. But if you're just getting started and trying to kind of figure out what do I do, what's going on, because like I say, it can be a little overwhelming. So I'm going to take you through the basics of creating a start to a video because there's actually segments to it. So let's just say you have some video. It's on an external hard drive, it's on a phone, you've already got it on your computer, whatever wherever the footage is, we're going to do it like this. Step one, on our desktop, new folder. We're going to call that new folder, I don't know, let's call it test. For crying out loud. So we'll rename this folder. We'll call it test. Okay. Now I've got a test folder. Now in that test folder is probably a good spot for me to put and organize all of my still images, my video, anything that I want, my audio, anything that I want to be part of this movie that I'm going to try and make with Final Cut Pro. I want to organize it and put it somewhere. Now, I use the desktop because the desktop is part of the cloud. So this footage, the things that I'm going to use in my video, they're not going to be taking up space on my actual MacBook's hard drive because you'll run out of space really, really fast when you're messing around making movies and stuff. So let's start with that. Now I've got over here in the corner just some random stuff that I pulled. It's got some pictures and some video footage. I'm going to take all of that stuff and I'm going to put it over here in my test folder. Then I'm going to close my test folder. Now, on my I can't stand this. Sorry, guys, it's driving me crazy. Test with two S's. So in my test folder, now I've placed video footage, some pictures, and everything else that I want to be part of this video. So there's step one out of the way. Okay, you want to kind of follow these steps as you go through the creation of a new project because again, it can be overwhelming. So now I've got a trial here of Final Cut Pro in my launch bar. I'm going to open that up. Now's where it can become a little bit overwhelming because you look at this and you think, holy heck, what do I do now? So if there's anything, ignore this because I'm just going to close this. But this is the way that your screen should look. There should be an open library, nothing selected. You don't have to have that open either. So you should just have a blank canvas to start with. Well, now the question becomes, what do I do? Step two, click Open Library. Now, click New. Don't pay attention to these things that are right here. We're going to say that this is your first time doing a project, so New. Now, this is called your library. Now, I'm going to call this test as well. A library is exactly what it sounds like. It is a library of your audio, your still shots, your photographs, your movie footage, everything. By default, Final Cut Pro wants to store these library files to a movies section on the hard drive. I keep it there. Now I'm going to name my library test as well so that I know that this test, my folder, aligns with test, which will be a library here in Final Cut Pro. It already exists. I'm going to replace it. Okay, I guess I can't replace it. So I'm going to call it test one. So now you can see what it did. It opened up two things, Smart Collections and a date. Now the date you don't really need to use. This is, for people doing really big projects that are going to get drawn out and take a while to create. This Smart Collection will have eventually, once we do it, everything that we need to create our video. So there's step two. We now have a library. Well, I need to get content into that library. So I can click right here where it says import media, or you can use Command plus I. That'll open up your import menu. Now you'll remember on my desktop, this is a searcher. So if you're starting off with something like this and all of this is here, simply toggle to your desktop. Hey, there's my test folder. Double click on the test folder. Now this shows my pictures and my movies that are in that test folder. Click on the top one, go to the bottom, hold down Shift, click on the bottom one. It'll select everything in that folder. Over here, we've got this Import All button. Before we click that though, let's make sure we don't have optimized media or proxy media transcoding on. We're trying to do whatever we can to decrease the size of files, because once you bring it over here, it's now going on your hard drive, things start taking up space. We're trying to do this in an organized fashion to keep cluttering to a minimum and keep organization to a maximum. So I have Analyze and Fix Audio and Close this window after importing checked off. So now that everything's highlighted that we want into our library, we click Import All. Now we'll see when we go over to our Smart Collection, which is part of Test One's library, that under Video, all of our video is there. All of our still shots are now there. So now we've got a little bit of organization in the form of a library, but this doesn't mean that you're ready to go, because now once everything's imported, we've got to create a new project. So now we click on New Project, and again, I'm going to title this Test, because this project is going to save as test with items that I add from the library. Now, without getting too deep into this, it's going to save it to event 2020-01-08. We can see over here, this is an event 2020-01-08. You don't have to worry too much about that right now. You can set your resolution however you want to do it. I leave mine at 720. I do 1280 by 720 for the sake of YouTube, and I only do 24 frame rate per second. If you guys want to start messing around with Super HD 4K stuff, play around with this stuff. See what it does, see how it fills up your hard drive. I keep it, in terms of rendering, Apple ProRes 422. And I do stereo sound at 48 kHz. So click OK. Now you'll notice that down here, it started a new project. Well, that project is empty. Okay, so this isn't going to be a full tutorial on how to use Final Cut Pro. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, turn your notifications on, because those are going to come. Now that we've figured out how to start a project, I'm going to show you how to just do the basic of the basic. But if you turn your notifications on, I'm going to do one more right away that'll kind of graduate you step by step, and we'll get you making full-fledged Steven Spielberg projects here. So now up here, I've got some video footage. So let's just select some video. Now we're dragging it down here into our project. Okay, so now I've got some video footage. You can see it there in the window. I'm not going to get into anything other than how to save a movie right now. So now you've learned how to create a library. Okay, that library's name coincides with your project's name and with the folder where all of the inventory came from. This is the part that confused me at first. So now I've created a project. I've used my video head here. I've scrolled through everything. Oh, well, that's a great video, right? So now we're going to go File, Share, Master File. Now you're going to do this master file default once your video is completed, because once you've taken this project and exported it to master file, you can no longer bring it back in and edit it. You have to go back to the library and start pulling things from your library. So that's what you're going to use to save it. I'll go ahead and save this one, master file default, because now we're going to get into this. There's going to be some info, some settings. Right here, you can name it. We're going to keep it, like I said, as test. Settings. If this is something you're going to use for YouTube, social media, and whatnot, you want to have H.264 checked off. Keep the resolution whatever you had it in, video and audio, standard. shows you right here the size that your file will be and the extension. It'll come out as a .mov file. Then we click next. Now we're going to pick where we want to save the final movie version of everything that was in our library, okay? Now for me, I just go to the desktop, I go back to my test folder, I keep it named test, and then I save it there. Now what you're going to see is you're going to see that here you're sharing. So don't go closing it down until it's rendered everything, transcoded it all, and saved your master file to your test folder. Okay. And one more thing after this, guys. Once this is done doing its thing here, what you're going to want to do, just to keep it nice and clean and organized, is, well, here we'll show you in the Finder. So you go in your Finder. Now under Movies, you can see that we've got here our Test 1 library. So now when you view the Test 1 movie, if you decide, hey, I want to make some changes, I want to add some things, change some things, this library will always be here. One thing you don't want to do is remove, delete, or get rid of the initial footage from the library until you're absolutely sure that your final exported movie is how you want it to be. Okay, because once you do that, what'll end up happening is you'll have missing files, corrupt files when you go back and try to open that library again. So make sure your movie's done, exported, so that you're good to go there. So that's your library, these 4 little white stars, okay? However, desktop, test, this is where we've saved right here. This is where we've saved test.mov. This is the actual exported file that's coming from Final Cut. That will be the actual finished file that we will upload. Hope that made sense today, guys. Now you're done. So now when you open back up Final Cut, you can just go right here to test. You can click close library test 1. Now we're back to square one again, right? Except for when you want to make changes, open library test 1, choose, boom. Smart collection, everything's back. All of the stuff you used the first time is back. All you got to do now is create new project again if you want to start from scratch and make changes. Once you've exported master file, you can't go back and make changes to that. You've got to go back to your library and create a new project from there. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not professing to be a professional on this program whatsoever. I'm just letting you know there was some hurdles for me at first. I felt unorganized. Things were saving in movies. Things were saving in this folder. Things were saving in the cloud. Files were massive. You know, the first one I did, I had all these things checked off. So just do it step by step the way that I just showed you. And that will ensure a couple of things. 1, you're not filling up your hard drive. 2, you're keeping everything nice and organized, because if you're going to keep making videos, you don't want stuff everywhere. Now I know that under test is my movie, right? I also know that in my Finder, under this Movies tab, is my library. So everything is now there. I don't have to worry about it. I'm good to go. So I hope you guys found this informative. Please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Next step we're going to do is actually open some video footage and do some real editing to it. That's going to come out very, very quickly. So turn your notifications on, and we'll see you next time, guys.